Hello everyone and welcome to another unit review. The first unit review I've done in a little bit. Allow me to clarify why I just haven't got around to doing this review. One thing, I was kind of hoping that I would get my own 7-star so I could build my own A2, but I wasn't super, lucky on the step-up banner, and unfortunately, Alum hasn't been exactly the best, in my opinion, on the way they've done all of this. Especially the way this near event has been handled. The removing of 2 of the limited time units from the raid rewards is a pretty damn big dick move from Alum, and I'm just not super happy about it. So when it came to doing this review, I had to consider, if I wanted to fish out someone's friend unit and they weren't loading properly, I was just getting bad RNG with it. And, I've been putting off this review long enough that I figured I'd just do the unit review and I would not do a showcase this time because I've just been so disappointed with Alum's way that they've handled these limited time units. And that's too bad, because Nier is not necessarily one of my favorite game series of all time, but I do respect it for, trying to be really cool and essentially reaching kind of the milestones that it has done. So I definitely do have a bit of a soft spot for Nier. I actually really like A2's design, and that is why we are here today and doing that review, although I'm just not doing a showcase on this one because A, it's pretty late in the game to do this. Maybe sometime in the future I can do a showcase of 2B and A2, in 6 months when I actually do get their prisms from the Trust store so I can awaken them to 7 stars that way, because right now I'm just not happy with Alum, so I'm not spending the money on it. And there you go. So let's get right into it. This TMR of A2s has been improved from the global side, which is good because it's pretty old and pretty weak on the global standards by what we have right now on the JP side. 143 attack, 20% defense, machine killer. Again, to get the most out of your A2, this is probably going to be the best equipment option for her, especially since fixed dice is gone now. But it still feels a little weak. Now, what doesn't feel weak is her super TMR. 80% attack with a great sword, as well as 50% machine killer. This is a very, very strong super TMR for, anyone who uses great swords, and considering that Squall and, A2 both use great swords and both get a big boost from that, as well as, just the extra machine killer if the enemy's a machine. It's a great super TMR. I generally like it. Or at least more than 2 Bs. Now, her limit burst is been a little bit improved, I think, from the global version. The 7 stars, pretty strong. 1550% maxed out AoE 1-hit physical attack, ignoring 50% defense, self 250% attack buff, and a self 1000% damage modifier for A2's hardest hitting ability, which is her self-destruct, I think. Again, haven't really tested it, but because I don't have it, but A2's self-destruct is interesting to say the least, because with some damage modification and her triple cast, you can in theory triple cast it and not have her die till the 3rd one. I don't think there's any way to survive 3 self-destructs in a row. That's pretty impressive, though, that, most people can only get 1 self-destruct off. But the big thing here with the limit burst is the attack boost. The 250% attack boost is the big thing, because it doesn't come with the berserk that her berserker mode does. Her berserker mode, gives her a 300% increase to damage and self-evasion, as well as an 80% chance to counter with a high damage modifier, but puts her in a berserk state that means only auto attacks, which is less great. Some of the things that stand out in A2's kit, For one thing, she has 10% MP recovery, which is a lot of MP recovery. That's, you know, high. That's pretty high for a unit in this day and age, considering that 7% seems to be the going average right now. So it's good that she turned out on top. You know, she has ways to give herself extra machine killers. She has an 80% chance to avoid fatal hit when her HP is above 10%. That's, you know, pretty good. Even at her 6-star form, she has 100% natural dual hand, which is pretty nice. And of course, she has AT chaining in her 6-star at her 48 MP ability. This one, which, you know, AT chaining seems to be coming into its popularity right now with, you know, units like Axstar frontlining it into high amounts of attack. So AT chaining is pretty nice, and it also gains her access to another ability for 4 turns. So even using this, you know, turn 1 gets her some extra stuff. And I think I mentioned already, she has a little bit of physical and magical evasion. That makes her kind of a, you know, gives her some different options for surviving. She does have dual wield, but I have to say that her dual wield is not what you're probably going to want to be using her for. For new players of the game, dual wield will be something good to use at the start, and then later on you'll probably just want to be true dual handing anyway. And I'm not even sure about that statement. And of course, in her 6-star to cap pretty much everything off, she does have a dual cast ability, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's dual cast. Anyway, in her 7-star, 7-star gives her some better stuff. For one thing, you know, just equipping her own TMR gets her 40% attack, 10% extra chance to dodge physical attacks, and 50% chance to damage machines, or 50% extra damage to machines. Again, she is essentially just a hater of machines. The 40% attack for equipping her own TMR does make me think that, you know, it's potentially optional that you don't have her TMR equipped to her, and you could probably do, you know, okay. It's not the most crippling for it, but I guess I would say that, you know, if you were against machines, you probably want her own TMR, as the extra killers will be way better for her, and that seems to be her focus, is just killing machines. So if we get a machine trial in the future, A2 will shine. If we don't, it's kind of going to be disappointing. Now, the 7-star is what we're kind of really interested in, because, you know, 7 stars are the meta right now. Available turn 1, 5-turn cooldown, gives her a self 5-turn plus 400% damage modifier for, I believe, is it just 1? No, 2 of her abilities, and enables access to another ability for 4 turns. We'll talk about that in a second. And allows the access of the use of A2 skills 3 times in 1 turn for 4 turns. It is on a 5-turn cooldown, so you'll get triple cast for most of the time. And I do believe that you can use her cooldown ability in her double casting, so it does allow you to open up and get into what makes A2 great right away. Next, she does have a 30 MP ability, which gives a self-recovery of 3000 HP, 60 MP, and fills her limit burst gauge. Probably the limit burst is the main thing you're going to get out of this. I don't think you're really going to be doing it for the HP and the MP recovery, because it's essentially just 30 MP for cast. Next is a little bit of an improvement for her dual wielding, but again, probably not going to be using this, because she has 150% true dual hand when you get her up to a max 7-star level. But this gives a limit burst damage increase, which does make this ability good, and 30% extra defense, so gives her, you know, some extra defense, which is nice. Her other cooldown ability, 76 MP, available turn 3 on a 3-turn cooldown, gives her extra damage versus machines and an 1800% one-hit physical attack. Nice little hit, but takes a little while to use, but not a super long cooldown, so a little bit mixed on all of it. And the only thing to really, you know, talk about other than that is her stats. I do Well, and the ability she unlocks. But the cooldown ability, from her cooldown. Yeah. Anyway, getting back on track. Obviously, attack is the big thing here. A base 206 with an extra 65 points put in. Fair amount of HP that you can get onto her as well. Nice amount of MP considering how much MP recovery she does have. Although it doesn't look like a ton of MP passive, so eh. And let's just see if it is listed in here under here. Yeah. So this is her other ability, the chaining ability, that is a 700% single target 8-hit AT frames, which AT frames, if you don't know, is basically the CG Reagan style chaining family and gives her some evasion. So it's a better chaining version for her. This is why A2 is basically a chainer and a chain finisher. She does have self-destruct. It would be cool if she could get some kind of, bonus for dropping her HP so low. That would be essentially really nice to just make her a little bit stronger. But her 7-star does improve on the fundamentals in her kit and does give her access to triple chaining, unfortunately not all of the time. A2 will shine against machine fights, and I think that is her main focus. I don't know if she'll ever be anything truly that amazing, but if we've looked at some of the other units recently, like Zack, who kind of have chaining abilities, and, really Zack is still mainly a chain finisher. A2 does feel like she could potentially be a strong chainer with also potential access to strong chaining finishes. She's in a popular chaining family. I gotta give A2 a solid recommendation, even if the banner she's on, Alum fucked up royally. So that is all for now, and I will see you guys next time for the 2B review. Or, well, not to be. It was a bad joke.